With Chainsaw Man chapter 204, things they escalate and simultaneously they take a turn for the unexpected here, because based on how the last chapter ended, you're inclined to think that this is the moment that the Falling Devil and fake Chainsaw Man will begin just overrunning Denji and Yoru. Yoru because she is fighting a primal devil, and that's no easy task, and Denji because fake Chainsaw Man is just using innocent people, but Fujimoto once again takes our expectations and he subverts them. Fake Chainsaw Man, he's out of here. And the Falling Devil, Yoru, she isn't even hesitating to fight her, and she's got another powerful weapon ready to fight the Falling Devil as she does so. So we open up the chapter where the last one left off. The Falling Devil is on the attack, but Yoru isn't one to take things lightly. Instead, she immediately takes the opportunity to make a brand new shiny sword, because now that the building's been destroyed, there's room for a new owner now, and Yoru immediately transforms it into a blade. Very smart thinking by Yoru. As she's falling to the ground, Denji quickly scoops her up and makes sure that she lands safely on the ground, but no sooner than she lands on the ground is Yoru immediately looking for the Falling Devil, and she makes a bold proclamation, which is that she's going to kill the Falling Devil. And the knee-jerk reaction is to say that this is Yoru getting a bit overconfident about herself, overestimating her abilities, just like she did when she fought against the aging devil. But I want to pause here for a second. I want to do something dangerous. The fear of war itself, it is stronger than when the Falling Devil first appeared. And while it is easy to say that Yoru should get clapped here, Fujimoto has made it a point to start placing emphasis on powering up Denji and Yoru before this grand battle with the Death Devil that Part 2 has been building toward. At some point, we have to see that payoff being given to us. Perhaps this is the only way we get this, or perhaps this becomes a situation like Makima versus the Darkness Devil, where Makima was able to damage it, but not ultimately defeat it. But at some point, you have to believe that at least one primal devil in this series will get killed. But even if one doesn't die, it just makes them more badass in terms of the lore, because you're fine with it either way. It just makes them the top of the mountain devils, like how they've been built up. However, before she leaves, she tells Denji that if he can't finish off fake Chainsaw Man, then she'll go and do it for him after she's taken down the Falling Devil, which is our sign of just how much Denji has truly been holding back. For Yoru to say this, that she could kill fake Chainsaw Man after going through what is likely going to be an intense and excruciating battle with the Falling Devil, it means that fake Chainsaw Man is really just fodder. And we see it in Denji's approach, because he realizes it's time for him to get serious, but in typical Denji fashion, it's not going to be without at least one or two moments of comedy. When faced with killing fake Chainsaw Man, who is using innocent people as a shield, what's the one thing that Denji suddenly gets concerned with? It's fake Chainsaw Man crossing the street on a red light in the middle of a chaotic battlefield where the Falling Devil has destroyed an entire building. People are running in panic. Denji and fake Chainsaw Man have been duking it out before this. There's not any traffic there. Never change, Denji. Never change. That was hilarious. Now, the battle, it goes much like how Yoru basically anticipated it would. Denji slices up the fake Chainsaw Man with utter ease, but Denji does it in a way where some of the innocent people have been released. Some of them die. And for obvious reasons, I can't show you the panel here on YouTube because they're all in the nude. You got butt cheeks hanging out. Women are trying to cover up their private area and their breast. And Denji, his brilliant observation is like, hey, it really did work like a video game, which goes back to one of the more interesting things about his character. He's really so simple that he's brilliant. He's a brilliant idiot who can pull things off that you normally would think would not work. However, as all the people begin to run away, a voice speaks from behind, complimenting Denji on how strong he is, and that's where we see it. The much anticipated Fire Devil, where we were forewarned would arrive in this moment. And the Fire Devil reveals it was inside of the person whose head was cut off, obviously being fake Chainsaw Man, asking Denji, do you recognize the human version of this? Now, there's actually quite a bit to unpack here for as fast-paced as this chapter is. There's a change in Denji that is on display when you think about it. He's been through so much throughout the 204 chapters of the Changeman story, and just in universe, these several years that have passed since he was a child. He's become desensitized to all things death. Death is something that he's basically numb to unless it's someone super close to him like Nayuta. Think back to when we saw him early on in the series, when he saw dead bodies in Part 1 Changeman. There were moments where you did see him a little weirded out. Indifferent for the most part, but there were moments. When it came time to kill the Muscle Devil, he paused because, hey, there's a child here. Now, Denji, he doesn't hesitate to do what needs to be done. Think back to when he found Pochita. Denji was this sweet, innocent, easygoing child, and he's saying, please don't die. Are you going to die too? He saw the damage that Pochita had, and he was worried about him. Now he's just standing there surrounded by guts, half of a man's face been cut in half, and he's got the super powerful devil standing behind him, calling him out for it, and Denji's like, this is another Thursday. I point that out because it does feel like Fujimoto is setting us up for a bit of a twist in the next chapter. For Denji to be this chilled when it comes to having to kill someone and being surrounded by death, it means that he can flip the switch as needed. Yet look at what the Fire Devil is saying here. The Fire Devil expects Denji to know the man who it was inside of. There haven't been too many men in Denji's life that he's come into contact with when you think about it. In particular, those who he will be close enough to truly be able to recognize them. Aki, he's dead. His father, he's dead. Yoshida, he had the contract with the Octopus Devil. That leaves us with only Kishibe as being a male who played a decent role in Denji's life, who is still around, but knowing Changeman, this might be a moment where it just ends up being some random guy that Denji never truly paid attention to. With this manga, you never truly know where it's going to take you, and that's what makes this chapter such a joy to read, because you know, going into the next chapter, you should expect the unexpected. The fact that the devil is pointing out that the severed head of fake Changeman is someone that Denji should know, which now is back in that original form, is another reason why I believe that this is not some random person. In terms of the design for the Fire Devil, Fujimoto of course killed it. And if I'm not mistaken, it's a loose homage to his other manga, Fire Punch. However, one thing that should be going back to you as a reader is the fact that everything in a way, just as it was building towards the Death Devil, it was also building towards the Fire Devil when you think about it. The fake Chainsaw Man, it was hiding inside of it. You had the class president, Yuko, and the Chainsaw Man Church. Between that and what you could argue is the interpretation that Denji, when he realized that he killed some people in order to save the ones he could, but those people ended up being afraid of him, particularly when he said it's just like a video game, it might have gotten to him. He did say in the last chapter that he didn't want people to fear him. This whole chapter, it went by very, very quickly, and it's going to make the 2-week break that we have feel like forever because this was a monster cliffhanger to end on. While that's it for the chapter, this doesn't have to be it for your journey here on Anime Explained. So click here on the left to check out more Chainsaw videos. Click here on the right to check out more videos from Anime Explained.